Hello, all of you bold, brilliant, and beautiful, highly evolved souls. I'm Davina, and today I'm going to talk about 5 principles that I feel are important on this journey of healing and awakening. The first one is self-compassion and self-love. Of course, this is, I think the basis of all healing is learning to love ourselves, because we certainly didn't learn love from our narcissistic parents. We learned shame and self-blame, and learning how to love ourselves takes time. I think in the beginning of this journey for me, it was like there was so much shame there. It was hard for that love to really get through. But I feel like over time, I'm starting to actually feel that love more and more. So I definitely encourage, just keep practicing it, even if it doesn't feel, if it feels strange, like saying I love you to yourself, or, you know, um, giving yourself compassion or giving yourself a hug, um, it might feel foreign or just unnatural almost. And it may not feel like it's getting through immediately, but if you just keep doing it, like any practice, it will, the shame will start to fall away, and the self-compassion and the love will get through to your heart. Um, yeah, I often just tell myself, first thing in the morning, I get up, I sit up and I hug myself and I just say, I love you through and through, no matter what. And I love you no matter what you're feeling. I love you even when you're feeling sad, even when you're feeling scared, even when you're feeling angry and ashamed or hopeless or anything. I love you. Um, and just developing that compassion for ourselves, for our own pain and suffering. In a way, this healing journey is a way to develop that self-compassion, because healing is basically experiencing a lot of pain, a lot of emotional pain, um, from our childhoods. And it can be, I know for me anyway, it has been just absolutely excruciating at times. And so just giving myself that compassion and, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. And just really, really having that tender kind of response to ourselves. And yeah, also loving yourself when you're in a flashback. I know for me, again, it would often be like, I'm in a flashback. I shouldn't be in a flashback. I should be able to get out of this flashback. A lot of kind of the shame and the blame. It's taken time to be like, I love you even when you're in a flashback. 'Cause when you're in a flashback, that's not your fault. And that's just your body having a, like, pretty much an involuntary response to a trigger. So just love yourself through that flashback. And we really don't have a lot of control over flashbacks. So just love yourself through it. And what else would I say? And yeah, and just practice becoming your own loving parent. We didn't have loving parents, so we need to create that attachment, that secure attachment with ourselves. And no, it's not fair. It's definitely not fair. Um, but yet this is, where we're at, and how we this is how we grow, and we, start to meet those unmet needs. Number 2, humility. I find humility can be such, when I just turn my attention to humility, it can just relieve so much suffering. Um, just reminding myself, like, I'm alive. It's incredible that I'm even alive today at 51 years old, that, I probably could have died 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I don't know, because my life was such a mess. I'm sure God had a big part in saving me. And so I try to remember that. And yeah, just, admitting my shortcomings, admitting that, I am a bit of a mess. And that's okay. It's okay to be human. Our narcissistic parents robbed us of our humanity because they didn't have humility. So they wanted us to be, perfect little robot children, who didn't feel. And at least that's how I felt. You know, so yeah, just really just it's okay to be human, to be learning, to have that kind of growth mindset that I'm just like a child, really, just, learning every day, and that's okay. Um, and to have the willingness to change. Obviously, it takes a great willingness to change and transform, to do this, in doing this work. Um, and it takes respect for others as well. I believe humility is, really respecting wherever other people are on their path. And that means maybe setting a boundary and going, okay, that's where you are and that's what you need. That's fine. And that's different from what I need. So we're just going to have to part ways, um, and just to really respect that that's who they are and where they're at, and that's okay. Even for the narcissist, although I don't recommend, doing that until you've really done a lot of healing. And saying you're sorry when you screw up or when you hurt someone. Um, yeah, it takes a great deal of humility to recognize that, that we hurt other people too, because of our own messed up, kind of, thinking and behaviors. And yeah, I mean, codependency is a mental illness. C-PTSD is a mental disorder. We have a lot of work to do, or at least I'll speak for myself. I have a lot of work to do still. So, yeah, the next one, surrender. This one I don't always find challenging. We learned in our childhoods to control, or to at least to pretend like we had some control, so we would control things maybe in our head or live in a fantasy world, or, whatever we could do to try to imagine that we had some kind of power over our circumstances. But it can be very, just freeing to like let go and let God, and to stop trying to control everything, because we really have, I think, a small amount of control in this world. There are so many other factors, other people, other things that we just, we can't control, like the weather. um yeah, so and it's a really powerful thing to surrender yourself and your life to God. It's so powerful, just to say those words out loud. I have a little prayer that I say every morning in the shower, that I, maybe will share with you next time. And yeah, it's just really a willingness to be open to God's plan, and to realize that, my will is sometimes not that clever or wise. Like, I think of this year and how it's gone, and I was trying to force things and control things and make things happen. And and God was like, no, Davina, you know what? You need to rest and grieve. And that's exactly what I did need. So God really does know, I think, what's best for us. She is, I believe, acting in our own, best interests, and just to trust that. It's hard when you have narcissistic parents and you think, why would I trust anybody else with my life? Um, and yeah, so it takes time, but again, it's always just a practice. And number 4, faith. Yeah, again, our parents taught us self-doubt and fear. And we learned to, constantly be in that place of doubting myself. And am I doing it right? And fearing the next thing. And um, this was their, a form of control. So to have faith in God, and or whatever you call it, the universe, divine energy, or, um, and to trust in ourselves, and to trust that we can heal. Really trust that you can heal. Really, you're an amazing, you know, highly aware, you intuitive, and you can heal. And trust your choices too along this journey. You know, I've definitely made some not so great choices, but now I know how to like just recorrect, and that's kind of what it always is. It's like making good choice, or like I don't want to say good and bad, but you know, making wise, loving choices, and then maybe I slip and oh, that's not quite right, and you know, like just course correcting. Um, and Yeah, sometimes too, just to ease my mind, I think about how things have worked out in the past, because you know the opposite of fear is, or like faith is fear. So you know, tumbling into the future, what's going to happen? How am I going to do this? What if this happens? So if you think back into the past and think about how things have worked out for you, think of miracles that have, you know, come your way. You know, maybe a person showed up in your life at just the right time, or you know, money just came to you, you know, just when you needed it. Any of those things that, you know, like, you know, I think of sometimes my apartment, which was such a miracle. And yeah, so many things. And you think, well, you know, it's always been working out. So, you know, the evidence is like it'll continue working out. And yeah, I one night I was laying in bed, and I woke up at around midnight to hear a song blaring from a car in the alley. And it was reach out and touch faith. And it just kept repeating, reach out and touch faith, that song by Depeche Mode. And it was really profound. And it really just, I think it made that faith sinking even deeper into me, that truly God is with me and caring for me. And a wise teacher that I was following for a while, I remember him saying, he'd say, I'm on a secure path to bliss. And just to have faith in that. It doesn't mean that there won't be emotionally painful times. It doesn't mean that there won't be difficult struggles. It doesn't mean that there won't be loss, because there'll be all of that. But we are moving towards bliss and enlightenment, all of us. And so just to keep that in mind. And the last one, patience. This is one that I've worked a lot on. Again, narcissistic parents are, you know, ones to like be busy or pushing you, pressuring you, rushing you. So we need to turn that around and like have the patience, you know, to endure, and also to like to endure this pain and to go through it. And you know, there is no easy way out. There is no shortcut. It is really just going through the pain, and it's just these really incremental, sometimes very small shifts that happen day by day, you know, and we don't always notice them, but so, you know, take time to think, oh, what shifts have happened this week or this month or in the last 6 months, and go, wow, oh, that's changed. Oh my God, I'm not feeling so much shame anymore. Oh my gosh, I've even, you know, sometimes, yeah, it's amazing when we think of those things and go, okay, it is getting better. Because I've thought a million times, you know, it's like when it's really hard, I'm just like, when is it going to get better? Is it going to get easier? Oh my God, you know? Um, and that's a very valid feeling. And let that be, you know, something to grieve, you know, like this isn't fair. And why do I have to go through this? And this sucks, you know? Um, and at the same time, you know, just try as much as to focus on the present and the present day, even to find the smallest bit of a moment of joy, a moment of peace, you know, something that, you know, just delighted you, or, you know, and as Pete Walker says, it takes time to de-adrenalize. You know, I felt like, oh my God, I was filled with adrenaline yesterday or 2 days ago. And it just like, wow, yeah, we really were like in, you know, that almost like accelerator on the fight and flight button was pushed and like just sort of stuck, in our childhood. So it takes time to like come out of that, like constant like hypervigilance and yeah, speeding around, Um, and finally, maybe like just to have respect for divine timing. That's something else I think I've just learned this year, really, that God knows what's best and when, I feel like I'm often trying to push things or force things and it, yeah, it just causes me a lot of unnecessary frustration. But yeah, still learning. So, yeah, those are my thoughts for today. And I am wishing you many, many blessings on your journey of healing and awakening. And I am Davina Shamaya at Boldness Blooming.